While this is the first video I'm going to make like this, it definitely won't be the last. Yesterday, we found out some big news in the college football world, as apparently Sam Leavitt, the star quarterback for Arizona State, is currently being shopped around to other schools. At least that's what's sort of happening here. Leavitt was one of the top quarterback prospects for the 2026 NFL Draft after breaking out as a starter last year and showing early glimpses this season. Unfortunately, he has battled an injury this year and is going to miss the rest of the season, and Jeff Sims has done a good job in his place. But with the portal and NIL world in college football, teams are already looking to upgrade and get started with their 2026 portal class. So today we're to talk about this. We're to talk about who Sam Leavitt is, why he's such a renowned prospect, and then also ultimately who I think are some teams in the running for landing him. I've got a couple of good options and a couple of obscure options, but before we get started with today's video, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover next. Now let's go ahead and get started and talk about Sam Leavitt and where I think he will end up. Okay, so before we talk about who he is, I first want to talk about the rumors that are currently going on with Sam Leavitt. Yesterday, there were some reports about this happening, as On3 ended up reporting that Leavitt was being shopped at a high level. He plans to enter the transfer portal on January 2nd, and that is what we found out yesterday. There seems to be some uncertainty about the situation, as Sam's brother Dallin actually took to social media, posting, quote, "On3, y'all are a joke. Addressed this right before Pete released the news, ... At this point, we don't really know what is going to happen with Sam Leavitt, but one thing we do know is that he is out for the season, as currently he is dealing with an injury. He would decide to undergo foot surgery at the end of October, and for now ASU is still alive, as they are still ranked in the most recent poll of college football playoff teams, but it seems due to the injury, Sam Leavitt's draft stock has fallen down a bit. But I think his portal stock could be at an all-time high, as he is one of the top quarterbacks in all of college football, has already proven he can help get a team to the college football playoff and win at a high level, and his potential is through the roof. Going back in time though, this was not always the case for Sam, as when he was a high school prospect coming out of the state of Oregon, eyes were not always on him. He really started to make a name for himself while he was at West Linn High School, as he had transferred there, and their head coach at one point was the QB coach at Portland State, so that really helped him out. His brother was also in the NFL, as Dallin Leavitt played for the Las Vegas Raiders, but during his senior season, Leavitt would pass for about 3,200 yards and 36 touchdowns, and was the 2022 Oregon Gatorade Football Player of the Year. He had originally decided to commit to Washington State, and was going to be a hidden gem for the Cougars, but then Eric Morris was named the new head coach at North Texas, and it seemed he would decide to move in a new direction. After getting offers from schools like Washington and Michigan State, he would decide to flip to the Spartans. He took an official visit to East Lansing and said, quote, "I knew when I was on my visit, it felt like home. I remember on the bus, I told my dad that is where I wanted to be." Also, quick side note, Eric Morris is truly unbelievable, as he also found Cam Ward, Drew Mestemaker, and John Mateer. Whatever quarterback that guy wants, I want on my team. According to 24/7 Sports, Sam was eventually bumped to a 4-star, the number 21 quarterback, and the 311th best player in the class of 2023. So he would arrive at Michigan State all the way back during the 2023 season, and while he was told there was a chance he could play for the Spartans, no one really thought it would happen. But as the year progressed, the quarterback room was not great, and he ended up appearing in 4 total games. His most action would come against Minnesota, as he threw for 73 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 pick. In total, he had 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Jonathan Smith was now going to come in from Oregon State, and he would decide to bring Aiden Childs with him. There was no reason for Leavitt to stay, so him and Kattenhauser both transferred away, and ended up becoming stars. Sam Leavitt would battle it out with Jeff Sims going into the 2024 season, and with how bad Kenny Dillingham and ASU was in 2023, there were no expectations for them. But with skill players like Cam Scadaboo and Jordan Tyson, Sam Leavitt would eventually blow up. He ended up having multiple incredible games, as he had 4 touchdowns against Kansas, and then 3 touchdowns against Oklahoma State, UCF, Kansas State, Arizona, and number 16 Iowa State in the Big 12 Championship, and because of that win, they would find a way to go to the college football playoff. Against Texas, Leavitt would go 24 of 46, and while he didn't have a touchdown, they were close and ended up losing in double overtime. In total, Leavitt threw for just under 3,000 yards, with 26 touchdowns and nearly 500 yards and 5 rushing scores on the ground. Because of that, he was named the Big 12 Freshman of the Year, and would opt to stay at ASU instead of going into the portal. Some were considering him a dark horse Heisman candidate and a potential first-round NFL draft pick, but so far 2025 has not gone according to plan, as it was an injury-riddled season, and Leavitt also had a tough start. Despite having 4 touchdowns against Northern Arizona, he'd end up having 2 picks and a loss to Mississippi State, and that really hurt their season. Leavitt would play in 5 more games the rest of the year, but he never had more than 2 passing touchdowns, and just wasn't the same. He was battling an injury. In total, through 7 games, Leavitt had about 1,600 yards with 10 touchdowns and 3 picks, with 300 yards and 5 scores on the ground. He was obviously doing solid, but eventually he would decide to have surgery and would be out for the year. That's where we get to where we currently are. Arizona State has one of the comeback stories of the year, as class of 2020 quarterback Jeff Sims, who's been all around college football, is finally wrapping up his career and playing really good football for the Sun Devils. So while they're still ranked, they have no shot at the college football playoff. It's unfortunate for them. Sam Leavitt has to make a decision about his future, as the portal is coming up and he can't play football the rest of the year. He is definitely in a predicament, as Dillingham and Arizona State gave him a good opportunity, but now he is NFL talent and could play somewhere bigger and make even more money. As much as people pretend that isn't a factor, it is. Right now, his stock is at an all-time high, and there's no guarantee he ever makes it to the NFL, and he is one bad injury away from being done. In this day and age, if I'm Sam Leavitt, I'm going to a place that can turn me into an NFL quarterback prospect and give me money along the way. I know it sounds selfish and crazy, but at the same time, these kids have to look out for themselves. That's where it was reported that he is being shopped by high-level schools, and while his brother is denying it, he also didn't say that Sam was coming back. He said he still hasn't decided. Coach Kenny Dillingham was asked about this, and he said, quote, "I'm focused on Colorado. We came out on fire in practice this week, and I don't listen to the outside noise, and it's November, and we're in the Big 12 championship hunt." Apparently, many believe that Leavitt could get over $2 million a year if he enters the portal, and Mel Kiper Jr. had Leavitt ranked as the 7th best quarterback in the 26th draft, which may not be high enough for him to forgo his final season of college football. Arizona State's AD said, quote, "Through NIL, we think Leavitt has got more in the tank here as a Sun Devil. He's got the opportunity to play at the next level, and they've got to make the right decision for the family." Okay, so no offense, I think Sam Leavitt is gone, and I don't blame him, and I'm kind of excited to see where he will end up next. I've now come up with 9 different landing spots for Sam Leavitt, and I want to make sure you guys know this. There is no inside information, there is no sources, this is just purely me coming up with schools that I think could be an option. I have no insider information here. The first school I came up with is Clemson. The Tigers are now in year 3 of their starting quarterback Cade Klubnik, and I believe he doesn't have any eligibility left. He will have to go off to the NFL whether he likes it or not, and he should be a late round draft prospect. They have Christopher Vezina as their backup, who was highly regarded coming out of high school, and they also got a late riser in Chris Denson, but neither of those two or an incoming freshman have the ceiling or experience that Sam Leavitt has. Honestly, Dabo Swinney is going to be desperate this offseason, as he needs to get Clemson back to competing for college football playoff spots, and I think they have the money to throw at him for him to go there. I do not think Leavitt would be a terrible fit for the Tigers either, as they already have some incredible receivers on the roster in TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco, and I think that would be a good fit. The second school I came up with is Florida State. Because of how big of a brand the Seminoles are, they are always going to be a factor. They have good NIL, and after this season is over, they need to move on to a new quarterback. Castellanos obviously is not the answer for them, and Mike Norvell, like Dabo Swinney, might even be more desperate. If Norvell doesn't win next season, he's going to get shown the door, so either he goes after a big quarterback in the portal, or he puts all his chips into freshman quarterback Kevin Sperry. I don't think that is the greatest decision in the world, and getting a quarterback like Sam Leavitt would be huge for them. He could get paid a lot, play for a high-profile program, and hopefully save Mike Norvell's job. The third school is the Miami Hurricanes, as I've already seen people talking about this. After they went out and paid for Cam Ward, they did the same thing with Carson Beck this year, and they've had success with both of them. Miami is still in the running for this year's playoff, but looking ahead to next year, I'm not sure what Miami has on the roster. I know Emory Williams is there, and true freshman 4-star Luke Nickel is also there, but again, Miami seems to be in the business of offering money to established quarterbacks, and Sam Leavitt would fit that role. I'm not sure how well he would succeed there, but Miami would definitely be a player in this. School number 4 in the sweepstakes would be the Oregon Ducks. Honestly, this might be the best option for him, as he grew up in the state of Oregon, and if Dante Moore decides to go off to the NFL, as many are expecting, Oregon will be looking for a new quarterback. Sure, they have Luke Moga, Austin Novosad, and Achilles Smith Jr. on the roster, plus they're bringing in 4-star quarterback Bryson Beaver, but that doesn't mean anything in this day and age. Oregon went out and got Dylan Gabriel when they didn't need him, and Sam Leavitt is from there, is a high-profile quarterback, and with what the Ducks have done with Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, and now Dante Moore, this would look super appealing for Leavitt, and they have plenty of money to pay him. I think that'd be a great fit for him. The fifth option is the Indiana Hoosiers. As personally as an IU fan, I think Leavitt would fit there. Coach Cignetti will have now led Indiana to back-to-back college football playoff spots, and he turned Curtis Rourke from an unknown transfer into a draft pick, and Coach Cignetti also turned Fernando Mendoza, a raw quarterback prospect, into potentially the #1 overall pick. It seems that Sig has the Hoosiers rolling, and Sam Leavitt could be a plug-and-play player that could succeed immediately, and I'm sure he would love for his NFL draft stock to continue to rise as well. It's an outside option here. Option number 6 could be the Tennessee Volunteers. It's no secret that Josh Heupel has done a great job at developing quarterbacks, as whether it was Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton, and now Joey Aguilar, playing in that Tennessee system seems to lead to a lot of success, and for the most part, you're going to get drafted if you do well there. Tennessee will lose Aguilar to graduation this year, and behind him, you have 2 inexperienced players, including George McIntyre, and while they bring in 5-star Faison Brandon, he may not be ready to take over right away. Leavitt could put up big numbers in Heupel's system, do well in the SEC, and go off to the NFL. The next option will be the LSU Tigers, who are looking for a new quarterback after Garrett Nussmeier will now leave. Michael Van Buren is solid, but I'm not sure if that's who LSU really wants. Also, the Tigers are going to get a new coaching staff, so they'll probably want a new quarterback. I'm not sure if Colin Hurley is the answer either, and LSU could offer him a ton of money to go down to Baton Rouge. He could play in the SEC, and they could also help him go off to the NFL. The second to last option would be Penn State, who now will lose Drew Aller to the NFL in graduation. Penn State is also looking for a new head football coach, and they need a change in direction at the quarterback spot. Drew had all the potential in the world, but he never put it all together. Sam Leavitt has already proven that he's a gamer and that he is really good, so whoever's the new coach at Penn State should offer him a ton of money. I know Ethan Grunkmeyer has shown flash, but if you have a chance to get Sam Leavitt, I'm taking him over Grunkmeyer. Finally, Texas Tech has to be a school in the running here because of the amount of money they have. They're willing to pay pretty much anything to be a championship contender, and with Baron Morton going off to the NFL after this year, there's no reason they shouldn't at least give Leavitt a look. I know Will Hammond will probably be the guy, but if they have the money and there is interest in Leavitt going there, why not take a chance on him and why not pay him the money to go there? Those are the 9 landing spots I have come up with, and other people will mention a school like Alabama, but I personally think they're going to go all in on Keelan Russell. Georgia will return Gunnar Stockton, Julian Sayin will return to Ohio State, and Oklahoma I think returns John Mateer. But those are just my ideas, and what do you think? Do you guys think Sam Leavitt will enter the portal? Where do you think he'll end up? And what other big-time quarterback prospect should I cover next? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out some of the videos on the end screen. Hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.